Um,
I thought it says
it was
recording in the
Amber was
corner.
recording, but on her computer and not on mine.
Got it.
So, now that I hit recording, the pets registration is open. You can either please, the preference is for you to click on the link that you would have received from Linda Yates, an email directly to you. And if you didn't receive it, or if you can't find it, you can register on midwestpets.org website. Okay. And then once you get your confirmation email, the hotel registration link will be in your confirmation email. All right. So those are the two big things that I wanted to talk about with regards to pets. The other reminder that I wanted to mention is that there is some grant chair training. Um, there is grant chair training on January 18th at 9 a.m. So be sure that you're registered for that. And also in Club Runner. So for most of our clubs use Club Runner as our website. So go into your website and assign your grant chair, your committee chair. That way, when Kelly is doing all of her communication, it's the same way that I do all my communication, then we have the best information, and all of the emails are going to the right people. If you do not use Club Runner as your website, you go into the district site. You can still go into Club Runner and assign a grant chair. If you have any questions on that, you can contact myself, or you can contact Beth, either one of us. All right. Any questions on grant training or pets assessments or registration? No, we're good so far? Okay. All right.
Did you say that grant training is on January 18th at 9 a.m.?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
They're offering it more than once, right, Laura?
Is that right, Laura? Three times?
Three times they're offering it. So you have three options, but you need to be certified as the president-elect, and then you need to have a grants chair as well.
There's a January date, a February date, and one in middle of the week in March. The two January and Februarys are both on Saturdays.
And they will be on the district calendar. Kelly was pretty good at putting those on the district calendar.
They're
So you
there.
go to the district website, click on the calendar, and then you'll be able to see those and then register right there. Awesome.
Amber's got a question.
Oh, Amber.
Yeah, just a quick question. I'm the president nominee this year, and I am intending to attend PETS. But
Yay.
yes, I'm excited. What a great opportunity that
Yay.
will be
Yay.
for our club leadership.
Oh
So
yeah.
just wondered, I haven't gotten all of the other emails. So for those breakout sessions, would that be something that could be forwarded my way?
Yes, I can get you the only one that you
President
would,
nominee.
yeah. I will do that. Thank you, Amber. Awesome. Anything else? Let me get 1 second, and then I'm going to share my screen here. I've got a couple people in the waiting room. Well, I thought I did. What happened to Brendan?
I
He
clicked
left.
on it.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay. I was like, what
They're
happened?
coming. They're coming in. They're coming in. I'm trying to help you here.
Thank you. I'm going to leave that up to you then. Awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
All right,
Yep. I'll
super.
watch
All
for
right,
it.
well, let's get started. And so we're going to talk all about Rotary Action Plan. And so if you've been with Rotary for a long time, you know that goals are super important, especially when it comes. So one of the requirements in order to be eligible for district grant is to have your goals inserted or inputted into the My Rotary. So tonight we're going to talk about goals and what Rotary's ask the areas that Rotary is asking us to identify goals. And we're also going to give you a quick demo of My Rotary so that if you're not familiar with it, you can kind of understand how to actually input the goals into the system. So Rotary has launched this year, so 2024, 2025, they have launched the Rotary Action Plan. So this is a 3-year goal setting program. So in the past, they just required 1 year. Well, we are now transitioning to a 3-year program, and we're doing that for a couple of reasons. One being that it provides consistency, right? So that this year is your existing president's year. They have a particular goals, and then next year you have yours, and it could be different goals. And so when we do it in a 1-year increment, it can cause inconsistencies and some frustrations, quite frankly, from either the club members or the leadership team of your club, et cetera. So Rotary is moving towards a 3-year program. So we want to be sure that when we're talking about our club goals, we want to be sure that we're including our existing president, our president-elects, our president nominees, and the board, so that we're all aligned. And then this is a rolling 3 years, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. So this presentation that you're going to see here is just a few slides, and it's going to explain what the Rotary Action Plan is. And it was a presentation that we received during Zone, which is another training program that we went to for district governors. Okay, so let me get going here. I'm looking at both of my screens. So we all know Yogi Berra, and so this is a very famous quote that we typically use when we're talking about goal setting, right? If you don't know where you're going, you might wind up someplace else. So we're going to assume, and I know that can cause some problems, but for purposes of tonight, we are going to say that everybody is a believer in goal setting. And I'm going to guess that truly everybody on this call is, because you're here. Right. Those folks who maybe aren't quite sure how important goal setting really, really is. So the Rotary Action Plan encompasses 4 areas where Rotary wants all their clubs to focus, right? We're trying to align with Rotary's mission statement, which is this. So this is their vision. Together, we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves. So based on this, then they have come up with 4 basic pillars, and that's where we're going to focus our goal setting initiatives on, towards those 4 pillars. And here they are. We're going to increase our impact. We're going to expand our reach. We're going to enhance participant engagement, and we're going to increase our ability to adapt, right? So a couple things just before we move on. The one thing, it's very similar to business and employees, right? We want to attract awesome members, active, engaged members. We want to attract them. We want to retain them, right? We want to keep. So what happens with Rotary is we've been talking about 1.2 million Rotarians around the world. But we've been talking about that number for years, and it's not the same people. So sometimes, some clubs, it's like a revolving door. We get 2 in and 1 goes out. Well, how do we make sure that the 2 come in, stay? So it's just as important to focus on in fact, it's probably more important to focus on our core members, and then working on attracting new members, right? There was a while, maybe 5-6 years ago, where the focus was just on numbers. Like, we need more club members. We need numbers. But what was happening was we were bringing in numbers on the front end, but then we had members going out on the other end. So the net of the whole thing was 1.2 million Rotarians. So having said all of that, if I dig a little bit deeper into increase our impact, that specifically is talking about polio, eradicating polio and leveraging the legacy. So our programs, our offerings, improving our ability to achieve and measure that impact, right? What are we doing with regards to polio, the foundation, grants, all of that? How do we increase our impact to our local communities, our different communities, and our international communities? How do we do that? So this is one area of focus. I shouldn't use that term because that means something else in Rotary, but this is one of the pillars that Rotary International wants us to focus on. And this will make a lot more sense here in a couple moments. They want us to expand our reach, right? What does that mean? That means grow and diversify our membership and participation, our service participation. So think about this. How many service events do you have? And how many of your members participate in those service events? Do you have the same number of people, excuse me. You may have, let's just for purposes of tonight, say we have 10 service events a year. And of those 10 service events, we have 40 people that participate. Is it the same 40 people or is it different 40 people, right? Is it kind of like, when they say, if you want to get something done, have a busy person, find a busy person because they're going to be doing it all, right? So that's what we have to look at from our membership of our core membership, grow our membership and diversify our membership and our participation. So it's not just adding members, it's also members that are participating. So we create new ways for the participants to experience Rotary, increase our club flexibility, understand our impact, and understand the brand. The third objective or the third pillar is enhance participant engagement, and this is retention. This is where we really need to focus on engaging our club members so that they are engaged. When I became president, I met with the district leadership over breakfast, and the gentleman's name was Tom Brooks. He was our district governor-elect, I think, at the time. And so he gave me some advice. And he said, Melissa, the best thing you can do is delegate. And delegate to your team, to your club members, because club members who are engaged are club members who are doing something. If you do everything, so you're president-elect, and if on July 1st, 2025, you do everything, you are not engaging any of your club members. And they're like, okay, I'll let her do it if she's going to do it. So to engage your members, pay attention. Think about, okay, who has some gifts in marketing? Who has some gifts in technology or whatever it might be? Maybe it's being a speaker at an event or speaking at your club. Those types of things. Engage your members. That is going to keep them connected as well. Improve understanding and support of individual participants, offer new opportunities, and provide learning opportunities for leadership development. That's the third way, or the third pillar, excuse me. The last one is increase our ability to adapt. So my background is in marketing, and there's a very famous book that it says, you adapt or you die. And that is true with business, and that is true with Rotary. If we don't adapt, Rotary will get stagnant, and Rotary will start to, die a very slow death. So we need to increase our ability to adapt. That's building a culture of research, like understanding your community, innovating, understanding what the next generation of leaders want. Take some risks and expect to fail, but learn from that, right? So we fail forward because we're learning about what, the risk we took and whether, we crashed and burned, or whether, hey, maybe that works, or we need to adjust it, or whatever. Let's be a little bit creative and not, well, we've never done it that way, or this is the way we've always done it. And that can cause some challenges as we try to grow. So the reason why, I want to just go back to those just a little bit here. So increase our impact, and that's our polio, our foundation, our grants. Expand our reach, right? So we want to make sure that our membership and our service participation, enhance and retain our membership, and then finally increase our ability to adapt. So those are the four, those are the four pillars that Rotary's action plan focuses on. From that action plan, then they have given us the goals where they want us to focus on. We just have to come up with our measurements or what the actual goal is going to be. So this is an easy part. If you're involved in goal setting at work or in a different community organization or at home, right, you have to come up with the goals. Well, in this case, Rotary has done us a great service, and they have provided us with the goal topics, the headings, and we have to then come up with our individual goals that are going to support what Rotary International wants us to dig into. Okay, so 3-year planning, how come? Like what can be what is it? Why is it 3 years? Well, it's continuity, which I talked about at the beginning. It's simplicity and alignment, and then it's also regional adaptability. There we go, adaptability. So wanting to provide some flexibility in clubs, right? We used to be pretty rigid when it came to attendance and all of those things. And now they're saying, look, you know what? Let's lighten it up a little bit and let's adapt to our community and to our membership base. Okay. This is the 3-year rolling period that I mentioned. So the first year that it launched was this year, so 2024, 2025. So most of our clubs do not have 3-year goals already established. Okay, Rotary rolled this out late last year or mid last year, and it's taking a bit for us to adapt to it and adopt it. So that's where we come in. So lucky you, this is your president-elect year. So when you're president, we will have this 3-year program already in place, but it will be year 2. You see what I mean? Because we've got year 1 is this year, even though we have our 1-year goal out there for this year. But is that going to be the same goals for next year or the following year? So we're going to have to kind of play a little bit of catch up. Year 2 will be next year. Year 3 will be the following year. So the reason it's rolling is because when we get to, I'm pointing at this like you can see what I'm pointing at. When we get to year 2, so when we get to our year, we're going to take a look at it again and go, okay, does this make sense for next year and the following year? Or are we going to change it? That's what it means. So then when it's the following year, so when it's Amber's presidential year, then her and her team or her board will be looking at it and going, okay, this is what we did in the previous year. Does it make sense for my year? And does it make sense for the following year? So we're always looking at it from a 3-year perspective out 2 years, I guess is what it is, but it's a 3-year rolling. I hope that makes sense. This chart to me honestly doesn't make sense, but hopefully the way I explained it made sense. And I don't know why my hand continues to raise. I do not have a question. So, all right, 3-year goals. This is what Rotary has prioritized. So when Beth takes you through the My Rotary program or the website, it looks the same as it has in the past, but they have prioritized these 6 goals. So if we do nothing else, they want us to focus on these 6 goals. There's plenty of other goals that are still in My Rotary that you can choose, but they also want you to focus here first. Okay, so the first one is enhance participant engagement. So that's the one pillar. That's service participation. They really want us to understand how many people are participating in our service events and then how many different people. That the same folks all the time, or are we engaging other members? Again, that's about retention. If you have an engaged club membership, it's because your people are doing stuff. So that's important, and they have research behind it that shows that is a club vitality is based on service participation. Then we talk about increasing our impact. That has to do with Polio Plus. And annual fund. How much are we giving? How many programs or events are we having that's raising money towards Polio Plus, the annual, and endowment and manger gifts? So those are 3 of them, right under increase our impact. Then we have expanding our reach. That has to do with club membership. And then increasing our ability to adapt, and that's creating or updating your club strategic plan. So we have just a little side note on this one. We have a district strategic plan. You probably have seen it. The goal now is to have all of our clubs have strategic plans. Some of you do, and some of you don't. Again, this is a crawl, walk, run type of program. So if you don't have one, then let's look at how can we get one. And let's just make it simple. We don't need any kind of fancy, business plan or anything like that. Let's just make it super simple and so that everybody understands it and can get behind it. All right. Let me see here. Okay, so now the fun part. We're going to think about our 3-year club goals. So this is the 5 steps that I've put together for tonight. You're going to have homework tonight. So tonight we're only going to go through one goal, okay? But we don't have time to go through all of them. And this is my idea. If you want to come up and do it your own way, you go for it. This was just to help you think about how to set your goals. So the first one is I want you to review each category. So enhance participant engagement. That's the one we're going to focus on tonight. So I want you to review that goal. So service participation. Identify the current club initiatives. What do you have today around service participation? You may have a couple things that you do, or you might have none. So you need to establish your benchmark. Where am I even at? So your first initiative may be, let's just track it, because I really don't know. I don't know who attends this one and who attends that one. So for the next 3 months, let's track it. So at least we have a benchmark, right? Data drives decision. So that would be step 2. Step 3 is I want you to ask this question. And this really is for you as the president, because at PETS, we'll be talking about leadership and legacy. What is the legacy that you want to leave during your year as president? And so I want you to think about it for each one of these areas. Is this your area? Again, I shouldn't say area of focus because that means something else in Rotary. Is this your pillar for your year? So in this case, is that what you want to lean into? I'm a big proponent for doing one thing. Okay, what is one thing that you want to accomplish in your year? And if that's leaning into service participation, like you're going all in with service participation, okay, then how would you like to begin it? Maybe your club already does a couple initiatives on that, or they already have that program in place and you want to expand it. If maybe it's literacy and you've always wanted to implement a special reading program for 3rd graders. It's just been on your heart for a long time. We kind of do it, but it's not consistent. Well, maybe this is your chance. Then this is what I really want to lean into. So then how do I expand that initiative? If it's not, like if service participation, that's not really what you want to, put all your energy into, okay, you still establish a goal, but I want you to go to that next goal to say, oh, okay, well, maybe it's going to be polio plus. Maybe I had an uncle who was in an iron lung, and it's really near and dear to my heart and to my family, and I would like to expand our polio plus initiatives. Could be something along those lines. Okay, so you ask that question at each category so that you can identify which is the one that really, I'm passionate about. And number 4 is then you establish that year 1 metric and your goal. So what is that going to be for your year 25-26? We'll talk about the SMART methodology, and then you continue that the next year and the next year, right? So, and it actually should be, you're going to establish your goals for 25-26 and 26-27. So that's why you include the rest of your board. So Amber's club is also going, Amber would be well involved in all of these discussions too, to be sure everybody's aligned for those. And the reason I say it's 2 years is because this is year 1 right now. So you check year 1. Does it make sense? Are we going to continue that? Does it match what Rotary International is asking us to do? What is year 2 going to look like, which is going to be your year? And then what is year 3 going to look like? Next step, you're going to meet with your club leadership to align the goals, have that discussion, finalize them, and then into the 3-year goal section of myrotary.org, which is what we will go through. Beth is going to go through. Okay, that was a lot. That was a ton. So we're going to now break it down. Okay, so these are your 6 goals. We're going to start tonight with the first one. We're only doing one. So your homework is going to be that you need to be thinking about all these others and putting together goals. Again, keep it simple. You're going to be doing these goals based on what your club already does as a legacy perspective and or what you want to create. Okay? All right. So this is where I want you to be thinking right now. And Beth is going to take you through my Rotary, and she's going to take you through her club. And so you can log into myrotary.org at the same time and kind of follow through with her. Some of the information, if your club is one that has been using my Rotary through the years, then you probably have data already established. If you haven't, then you're going to have to create some data or identify the data, I should say, so that you can identify a benchmark. Okay, so service participation. So that's where I want your head right now. I want you to be thinking about service participation. The first thing we have to do is determine that benchmark. So for my club, I'm a member of the Rockton Roscoe Club, and Glenn, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we track service participation. And you don't have to answer me if you don't want to, but I don't think we do.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
I was muted, sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Yeah. So for us, we're going to have to, figure out the data. We're going to have to go, okay, at our next service event, like every quarter, we feed, there's a homeless organization called Carpenter's Place. And so we make breakfast, and then we serve the community down there. And so, but how many members participate? We can probably figure that out based on the last couple times we've gone. How many different people participate that we might have to take the next 2 times to go, okay, how does that look? How many people are going? We don't need more than 5. Okay, but is it the same 5, or are there others that are engaged in it as well? So be thinking about that. Again, it's okay to have to identify your data now. I'm not expecting you to know this kind of stuff. So for purposes of today, we're just going to use estimates. The second thing you would ask yourself right now, so I want you to be thinking about this, is this the pillar for your year? Is service participation and that engagement, club membership engagement, is that something that you feel your club really needs to thrive? Like maybe, so when I first joined as president, I shouldn't say joined, but when I first was president for the Rockton Roscoe Club, we didn't have a lot of engagement. And so that next year, we were a small club, the entire club agreed that we were going to focus on engagement and making sure we focused internally before we went external to find new members, because we needed to be sure that we loved our club and we were engaged in our club before we could talk to other people about, hey, join our club, right? So that's what we did, and it worked. It got everybody engaged, and now we're all really on fire for our club and for Rotary. So be thinking about that. Do you have a club that needs to be kind of, needs a shot in the arm, needs a little bit of energizing? This may be something that you want to focus on. And then we will establish our year 1 metric and goal. Okay, so when I say SMART goals, most of you, if not all of you, know what I'm talking about. We're going to be talking about, is it specific? Is it measurable? Is it attainable? We want to be sure that you can actually get it. I use it usually when I teach goal setting to my clients. I'll say, look, I've always wanted to be a rock star, but I can't play the guitar. So maybe me being a rock star is not attainable because I have to learn how to play the guitar, or I can't sing worth a darn. So we need to be sure that it's attainable, that it's relevant to our. You don't want to establish a goal that is going to take, that doesn't make any sense. And I can't think of one off the top of my head, but you want to be sure that it's relevant. And finally, it must be time bound. That is probably the most important piece, specific, measurable, and time bound are pretty critical so that we don't have a goal that just goes on and on and on and on. The one piece in here that I'll add is that then we have to hold ourselves accountable. So the My Rotary program that they have, the website, the portal that you can go into is amazing, but it's only as amazing as the person who inputs the status of the goals, right? It doesn't know how many people went to the service event. You have to put that in there. So we have to hold ourselves accountable to actually inputting the information into My Rotary as well. That way we end up, so that way we can track ourselves and know whether we're moving one way or the other from a direction perspective. Okay, so now it is your turn. I want to take just a few minutes, and we're going to start with service participation. And I'm going to give you, I don't have any music, but I'm going to give you a few minutes just to write down your goal. So think about your club, enhancing participant engagement, and primarily service participation. All right, so write down what you would like. I just have an example here, and I'm not even gonna. I'm gonna ask for a couple volunteers. I won't ask for each person to tell me what their goals are. So, so go ahead, and I just lost all of you. There we go. So I'm gonna shut up. When you're finished, look up so I know. Looks like pretty much everybody's. Thanks, Chris. All right. Who wants to share before I have to volunteer somebody? Beth, did you raise your hand? Yeah, go ahead and unmute.
You want me or Beth Costa?
I'm sorry, Beth Costa.
Okay, yep. Okay, so I put down that I want to increase our service project participation by making sure that the projects that we are doing are aligned with the talents and interests of our club members.
How are you going to figure that out?
Well, I just emailed out a week ago the club survey to do a mid-year survey. So that I think I pretty much know our club is very interested in literary projects, but our interest in participation has seemed to wane a little bit. So I just want to check in and see if there's been a shift. You know, maybe that ship is kind of come and gone, and they'd like to focus on something new. But that's kind of where my head is that maybe they're bored with the literacy projects that we've been doing, and we need to find a new way to a new shiny rock to focus our attention on.
Engagement can wane if we've done the same old, and then everybody's used to it. And so now by Beth sending out a survey, and it's a simple thing to do, get your club members. I mean, just the fact that you ask them their opinion is going to engage them. So I think that will increase your engagement as well. That's wonderful. Did you put a time on it when you wanted that to have back and done and figured out?
I gave it to some of them at a meeting and asked them to do it while we were talking because we had an assembly at our last meeting. So I did get quite a few of them back that day. But I've also emailed them. We have a board meeting coming up, and I told everybody that I'd like to have their answers before their board meeting so that we could review the results at our board meeting.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, yeah. So the board meeting date is going to be done by. If you don't get all of the surveys back, it's okay. You're going to have, statistically, you're probably going to have a pretty good feel for where folks are at. So.
That's a good. I was going to bring that up earlier, Beth, because when I chose to be, or when I was, I didn't chose. I think I was out of the room. When I was elected to be president, that was the first thing that I did. Was I did a survey to get an understanding of what the membership's interest really was, of what they really wanted to focus on for the year. And by doing that, I think you get a little bit more buy-in, and it helped in that they're heard. So therefore your participation is usually better.
Yeah, absolutely. Good. Okay, so that was an example, a trial of how to do this. So your homework will be to go through this one again, but then go through the other ones. I want Beth, I think this is when we were doing this, Beth. Yep. Through my, so that, and do a demo. And if I were you have access to the computer, you're not on your phone, then go ahead and I will stop my share, Beth, so you can, or did you just take it? You did. Awesome. Good. Thank you.
Okay. So I went ahead and went from the very basic because I didn't know how many of you had signed into my Rotary or not, if you had access or not. Hopefully you all have. You've been in there and it looks familiar. But just in case you haven't been, she showed the first page, but go to myrotary.org. And sign in. And I got to tell you, have done this long enough that years ago, this was all paper goals and trying to get people to complete paper goals and be able to take it back. What they've done on My Rotary is amazing. It's wonderful. It makes it so much easier. While your goals can be overwhelming, they've outlined it to make it look easy. So you into My Rotary, then I'm going to click on the very first one and we're going to go to Rotary Club Central. So under Rotary Club Central, there's club goals, and I am a member of the Rockford Rotary Club, and the current president had put in a number of goals, put in for membership, put in for annual funds, and as you can see, it even tells you the progress of the goals. So their achievement on their goal membership is 94 and their goal was 90. So they've already achieved the 2024-2025 goal. Now they've got to keep those members till the end of the year, but it's in there. The annual fund contributions, they put a goal of 11,000 and they've already done 10,902. Polio Plus is in there. So these are the goals of your current president. Hopefully you will have a guide of these by your current president putting goals in there previously. But if you don't worry. I mean, It's no big deal. You can go. If you look up here on the top underneath it, it has 2024, 2025. So your year is going to be 2025, 2026. As Melissa said earlier, they wanted to have 3-year goals put in there, but it didn't actually happen. So we're doing a little catch up. But in that, they also have put in the priority goals. Remember, there were 6 areas of focus that they wanted, or 4 pillars, but it basically comes down to club membership, strategic plan, service participation, annual funds, Polio Plus, and benefactors. So this is all relating to money and money goals. You can get a report from any of the foundation members. Ideally, somebody in your club can tell you what you've contributed in the past. But as Melissa said, she wanted to really focus on the service participation and wanted to show the goal details and history. So in here, the achievements, so there's 2023 to 24, there is some history, but not a lot. So you are basically just going to go in and select that goal and then enter your goal value. So is it 10%? Is it 20% participation of your membership? But whatever that is, you're going to put that in there. And then you're going to understand that from your membership. And then you're going to track the data over the next few months of, do you have 3 members attending in service projects? Do 6 members help with a service project? Or do 10 members help with the service project? And that should give you a feel for how many people are participating and give you a baseline. But whatever that is, so you can put in there the 10%, and then you're going to go back and you're going to save that goal. So I'm not going to do that at this point here, but just to give that to you for your participation, but also like the annual fund contribution. You should, hopefully you can go in there and see. Now, it's given a history of from 2021 for our goal of what their goal was for the annual fund contributions and then what they achieved. As you can see that most years they did quite a bit better than what the goal was set, so more than achieved. But the particular year, this year, they've set it a little bit a lower bound and they've almost reached it. So ideally, they'll once again over contribute to what the goal is. It's just a benchmark. So, and ideally you want to get the members to at least your leadership. You want to get your leadership to buy into what these goals are. And so it will do it. You can do it by enhanced participation. And then it's got the priority is the service participation, but you can also go into how many social activities are you doing? Is there Rotary group? Is there leadership development? Is there district conference? So there's other goals that can be set in here in addition to the priority goals. If you look back, I mean, you may have a interact club. So let's go see Rockford back. If you go into all the goals, you'll go down, hide you. They wanted to do 6 social activities this year, and they've achieved 3 so far. Service projects, their online presence, is that been, they wanted to put some effort on that? Is there Rotary Action groups participating? So somebody, the current president went in there and set all of these goals, and some are being achieved and some aren't, but at the minimum, they're hoping that you will at least go in and set the goals that are the priority goals for year. And I'm gonna say it's kind of cool. You can go into the global summary and see service participation. Would still look at, but you can also do it by district, and you can look at, so that this is for 2025-26. So nobody's entered their goals yet. That's okay, right? We're just teaching you about it now. But if you look at 2024-25, there's 44 clubs, and it will tell you what goals that they set. Some set more than others. So you can see that the priority in setting goals, because that's, how we know whether you're successful at the end of the year. Any questions?
I have a quick question, Beth. Is my Rotary, I'm sorry, separate from, obviously it's separate from Club Runner and all of that.
Correct.
So I have to establish my own login to my Rotary, and then does it know I'm the one that can change things for my local club because I'm in there assigned as something already?
Correct. So typically your leadership has already entered you as you've been entered as the incoming president, and that's been registered at Rotary International. So they should know that when you get in there. Yes, you have to set up your own presence under myrotary.org.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Any other questions? Melissa, any thoughts? Do you want to go further?
Yeah, no, I think what you've done is a good overview for sure. It's like, go back to your club goals.
So
The top one, yeah.
yeah.
It can be
Sorry.
That's okay. It can be a bit overwhelming because Rotary puts all of these goals in there. When Beth found, when she does all goals, so there's tabs where it says all goals, enhance participant engagement, increase our impact, expand our, right? Those are the 4 pillars. So you can click on each one of those tabs, and it's a filter for the goals that are related to that pillar. So if you just do all goals, it can be super overwhelming. So
look at all them. Yeah, there's a lot.
Great. And you don't do all of them. You won't be able to get. Remember, I love the methodology, or the whole idea of let's focus on one thing. And so I know I have 6 goals, but I don't want you to think that you have to fill out all of that, because then we're just doing it because it's there. Choose the ones that make really good sense for your club and do those really, really well. That would be my recommendation. So go through the priority goals, and those are important. Those are super important. But if there's other things that you do naturally in your club that are other goals outside of the priorities, go ahead and put goals in there for sure. But if it's something new and you're not really passionate about it, or it's just, you're just thinking that you have to do it, then don't. Does that make sense? I want to be sure that people understand that these goals.
Yeah, because like if you don't have a Rotaract club, or you don't have an Interact club, your club's not involved with that, don't set a goal for it.
Right.
Unless that's something that you want to accomplish in your year.
Exactly. Perfect. All right. So, Beth, why don't you go ahead and unshare for a second so we can see everybody. And so now, any questions on, there's questions kind of like what Glenn had asked. There's questions on how does Club Runner and My Rotary speak to each other? Not well.
They don't. Not well.
Okay, not well. So basically,
Two separate apps.
It's really exactly. So when you put in the PE or the grant chair in Club Runner, somebody else has told Rotary International that that's your role, and that's how that happens. But the district and your clubs, if you subscribe to Club Runner, will use Club Runner as our communication tool. So we need to know what the president-elects are for each club, what the president nominees are, what the treasurers are, what the secretaries, and et cetera, because we take that information and then that's how we communicate to you, so that everybody doesn't have their own database of email addresses, right? So that's got to be the latest and greatest. So it's Club Runner is super important, and then My Rotary is managed through the goal setting and then the brand central. If you want to know anything about logos and things like that, those are also through My Rotary. Grants, all the grants, there's a whole grant piece in there too, and then the learning modules. So there's quite a bit. And so if I've been sending emails on the 2 or 3 different learning modules that I want you to go through prior to PETS or prior to becoming president-elect, you go to My Rotary. That's where you go to find those.
I think one of the things that to keep it in your mind that they're 2 separate apps, but also can look forward for the next year for your club. But how does the district find out who's doing what in your club? So it is 2 entities that need goals and information, but also with My Rotary, our hope is showing you this and setting goals is that you should have a board meeting before you come to PETS. And we're hoping you're able to look at some of these goals and then talk about it at your board meeting with your rest of your club, and so that you can come back with a feel for some of the goals and see if you can at least get your leadership aligned.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Just as we wrap up here, and we're available if you want to reach out afterwards or at some point, please do so. I just want to remind everyone, so next steps, review each category, identify your club, establishing those benchmarks, and then you're going to establish your year 1 metric, and then your year 2 and your year 3, and then get your club leadership aligned. So I think that's all. The really cool part of, at least it's cool for me, the really cool part of the goal setting and the way that Rotary International is doing it is it forces communication between the leadership of your club. So we can have that conversation now so that Amber knows, oh, okay, that's the direction we're going. And then she can go, okay, I'm going to lean into that a little bit. Or she can say, I was thinking about the environment and I really would like to pour more into the environment. We can still do literacy, but the environment is something that's really passionate. So how do we do a 3-year program or a 1-year program, but yet it doesn't kind of mess up confuses the club membership. So just as an example, and that's super important. The other thing I wanted to be sure that I highlighted was the goals need to be established, and in I don't think it's called Goal Central. That's what I called it, but it needs
Club
to be
Central,
in My Rotary by May 1st, 2025. So don't start April 30th. We had some challenges over the last couple of years. Let's start like we're starting now, and then you'll go through the grant training, and then through PETS, we'll chat about a bit about it at PETS, and then you'll have some time to figure that out. But I would make sure that you're getting them into my Rotary. I would put an April 10th date, or maybe just do April 15th. It's tax day. Just use that same April 15th. And the reason I say that is because what happened in the past was that people had waited a little too long, and then they didn't have the right permissions from a system perspective. Like the system would not let them insert their goals, and so it was last minute, and it caused an awful lot of turmoil. So don't wait until April 30th to get those goals in there. Figure them out, get them earlier the better. Like I said, make an April 1st, I would say April 1st, don't even wait to April 15th, but let's get those figured out and in the system so that your club will not have any interruption of district grant funding, because the more district grants we can have, the more impact we can make, right? So super important. Just a few save the dates. This is specific to my program, and that is the Clifton Strengths. So I did send an email out tonight for those of you who have not taken the assessment. Find the email, the original email. I've given you some things to search for in your email inbox. If you don't have it, please let me know. There will be another reminder going out on Thursday of this week, January 15th. So if you don't receive it January 15th, reach out to me. It needs to be completed before pets, okay? Or excuse me, I'd like it to be completed before January 25th, because that is a training. Now, if you can't make the training, it is recorded, so not a problem. You can watch the recording, but the Clifton Strengths Assessment is going to be the core or foundation part of our district breakout groups as we talk about leading volunteer organizations. February 20th is another pre-pet session number 3. That one's going to be a lot of the nuts and bolts of being president, whether that's about insurance or risk assessments and all kinds of things. We'll talk about pets itself. We'll talk about the agenda, what to expect, when you come into the hotel, where is my registration desk, where is our breakout. We'll be talking about all those kinds of things to get you ready for the February 28th, which is that Friday. So it's February 28th, Friday through March 2nd. Registration is open. If you have not received your registration link, please let me know, and we will make sure that that is sent to you. Or you can also register on the website midwestpets.org. So any questions before we wrap up here? Jen, if we have taken the Clifton Strengths recently for work, can we use those results? It's a great question, Jen. I would love to tell you yes. The only thing that I don't know is I don't know if we will be using those results from an aggregate perspective. So let me get back to you on that. So that's Jen Schultz. Okay, let me get back to you on that so that you don't have to do it twice. Okay, yeah, you and I will chat about that offline. And Amber was my other homework, right? I had homework for Amber as well. All right.
Yeah,
All
just
right.
sending the emails.
Yep. Anything else?
I've got a question about the goals and best practice. I heard it said, we should involve the board. I was on the board last year, and I don't remember ever going through goal setting. There's a lot of goals to set, and sometimes it's hard to get everyone to agree. Is this the entire board for all the goals, or?
You do what works for you.
What I would recommend is that you may not have to include the entire board, but I would definitely include your president. And if you have a nominee, include the nominee. So at least those 3, so that you guys are aligned. If it's a 3-year rolling goals, we want to be sure that there's no surprises coming down the pipe. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Thank
super.
you.
Yep. You're welcome. Sue, good question. You're muted. Sue, you're muted.
There, can you hear me now?
Yep, we got you.
I am also not getting any emails.
Okay.
So if you can put me on whatever list that is.
Oh, I'll put you on a list. I'm kidding.
Thank-
I'm
thank you.
kidding.
That's okay. I like information.
Yep. I got your name. I'll reach out to you.
All right, thanks.
You bet. Anybody else? Anything about pets? Anything about being president? Are you freaking out about something? You want to just vent? You can always reach out to me for that too. All right.
Did you
Going
say
once.
did you say every club has a grants chair?
They should, yes.
Good. Okay.
Mhm. Laura, if there isn't a grant chair identified, do we send it to the president? Is that what you do for communication?
No, it's typically to the foundation chair if
Oh,
there's
okay.
not a grant chair.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
thank you.
Yep. One or the other typically exists in every club.
Perfect. Thank you. Awesome. What else is on your mind?
Where would we find the district strategic plan?
It is on the website. I don't know if we have a search function on that website or not. But yeah, it is on the website. I will, I'll find out where it's at and let you know.
MyRotary.org?
No, it's on ours, on the Club Runner one. So it's on district6420.org.
Okay.
Yep.
And Melissa, I think it's under downloadables.
Oh, okay. Thank you. On the left-hand side.
Yep, I believe that's correct.
Okay, super. Thank you.
Who created it?
The district leadership. So
Okay.
we created it 3 years ago, right? Laura's year? 2 years ago? 3 years.
It's been updated each year
Yeah.
Great.
since then.
Yeah.
So it's very current.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. And like I mentioned, this recording will be uploaded to the district website. I will send a link out so that everybody knows where it's at to all of our PEs that are currently registered, and I'll include the presidents as well so that they know all about the goal setting. All right, and I look forward to chatting with everyone the next time. Have a great evening.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, Melissa. Thank you,
Bye.
Beth.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Great job, Melissa.
Thanks, Tina.
We'll talk later.
Okay, sounds good.